advance, Happy New Year to everyone. We trust that you have had a wonderful Christmas break with family and friends. We're looking forward to a meaningful new year and pray that you will achieve all that God has purposed for your life. Can you imagine? January the 10th, 2024, first program here for the mailbox. So, purpose. We're looking at purpose this afternoon. Purpose is an intention or aim that is both personally meaningful and beneficial to the world. Purpose is the reason why we're here, why something is done or used, or the feeling of being determined to do or achieve something. Purpose can also be in a long term goal that can potentially change the lives of other people, such as launching an organization, researching a disease, or teaching kids to read. We have a purpose here for having the mailbox. This is where we challenge, encourage, and empower our men to become all they were created to become. In a Forbes newsletter article, July 29, 2019, entitled The Why Behind Our Work, What is Purpose and Do We Need It? It is said that on average, people spend 90,000 hours on the job over the course of their lives. So it's no wonder that 9 in 10 workers would take a pay cut if it meant having the opportunity to participate in more purposeful work. But what is purpose, and do we really have to have it? The most basic definition of purpose is the why question. Why someone is working on a task, why a task matters to a job, why a job matters to an organization. The outcome is feeling as though the task, the job, the organization is meaningful. And this is where we are. This is the program designed for men with guest star men, hosted by men, and it's aired every Wednesday unless it's a holiday at 5:30 p.m. right here on Love 101, the family station. It's the mailbox. By the way, I'm Kevin Bailey. Right here is.
Hi, Kevin. How are you? Good afternoon to the World Wide Web. Good afternoon to all of Jamaica. Good afternoon to all those who have tuned in and are listening to Love 101. I am Courtney Morrison. To all our listeners, thanks for making Love 101 and making it your station of choice. We're talking about Man of Purpose. It is our first show for the season. It's our first show for the year. This is the first month of the year. We will be exploring actions that will allow for greater planning and execution in this new year and discussing the issue of living life as a man of purpose. So we want you to pay special attention to today's program.
Thank you, Courtney. And guess what? Man oh man from Moran Point to Negril, our very special guest this evening is Mr. Rondell Allen, aka Rondell Positive. We are very privileged, honored to have him. And Courtney, you have to help me to introduce him, because I don't think I alone can read all of this on the bio. So let me start part of it, right? So Rondell Allen, aka Rondell Positive, man of purpose, the mirror boss, is not only one of Jamaica's most sought after inspirational recording artists, but an avid speaker, kingdom teacher, purpose activator, youth advocate, mentor, and philanthropist. His ability to use music to influence the next generation landed him his own TV show, Mirror Purpose Experience, on television Jamaica. He holds a Bachelor of Science degree in Education, that's BSc Education, awarded from the Mico University, and a Diploma of Primary Education acquired at Case. He is married to a beautiful wife, Latoya, and they parent 3 gorgeous daughters, Janari, Leanne, and Rain. Courtney, help me, man. Help me here.
Indeed, Rondell Positive. His uniqueness in music, speaking, and being a kingdom influencer has led the government of Jamaica employing Rondell's services as consultant to the Ministry of National Security between the years 2018 to 2020 and the Ministry of Education and Youth in 2020. He is intentional in his music, in his teachings, and events as he believes that all things were created on purpose by a God of purpose for a purpose. Hence his moniker, I Am Purpose. Purpose lives here. With his latest release, Shunammite and the Mirror, crossing borders and breaking barriers. Rondell is poised to become a major influencer on the systems and the people of the world. May you complete it for me, please, bro.
I tell you, he received the Male Gospel Artist of the Year 2019 Sterling Music Award and is also a multiple Caribbean Music Awards winner, being the youngest Jamaican gospel recording artist to be awarded the Jamaica Reggae Industry Association Iconic Honor Award at age 39. He received the Sterling Gospel Music Award for Best Collaboration 2017 for the song Not Afraid, a hard-hitting reggae track with authentic Kingdom lyrics featuring Kevin Downswell. His most recent nomination has seen him being nominated by the Reggae Sumfest Social Awards as Best Gospel Artist of the Year. I tell you, man oh man, for leisure, Rondell enjoys reading, social events, quiet family time, local and international travel.
Indeed, it's good to have with us Rondell
Okay.
Allen, Mr. Rondell Positive himself. Good afternoon, sir. Welcome to the mailbox. Good to have you here with us.
Greetings, sirs. Blessings, honor,
Wow.
love. It's an honor to be with him, with the gentleman this evening. You know, to share such topics and to talk about my favorite, the things I like to talk about the most.
Boy, I think it is our privilege, our honor to have you, Rondell. Just amazing your contribution to the nation and to the world. And we're going to try and rinse out every wisdom this afternoon pertaining to the men them, because I don't know the man them are listen up, want to know who will partake. So it's so good to have you.
Honored.
And we're not afraid to ask you any question because we know you are not afraid and you don't walk alone, you see. But we want man and man to remember, we want to hear from you, those who are listening, those who are watching. We are live on Facebook and YouTube at Love 101 FM Jamaica. Remember, you can leave your comments via WhatsApp line at 876-997-3125. And we want to hear from you.
And ladies, what want to say? We want your contribution. How do you define a man of purpose? Should he have lots of money, big house, fancy car, or just having the desire to achieve? Is that enough for you? Guess what? We want your perspective as well. So you can participate in the program by leaving us a message via WhatsApp, Facebook, YouTube. Remember, ladies, do not call, no voice notes. Just encourage the other man them in your life, your grandfather, your father, your husband, your boyfriend, and your other relatives, them male. Let them do the calling while you contribute on social media as noted. All right.
Awesome. At this time, we generally give our shout out. Rondell wanted to join us as we say Monday. We shout that out after count of three, and we want the entire Jamaica to hear this. So after three, let's greet all those out there and shout Monday. After three, 1, 2, 3, Monday.
Yeah.
Mondays, I mean.
man in other place. And
Hey, Rondell, before we go any further, there's a section that we call the draft. And I say it is the direct response for the featured theme. Before we get into the main discussion, we want to get to know you a little more. We want to ask some questions, of you. We want to ask you, tell us a little bit about your childhood. Were you born with a golden spoon in your mouth? How you reach where you're there, And at the end of it, we want to ask you a big overlying questions. Are a person really concerned about achieving their purpose in life? Yes or no? But tell us a bit about yourself, where you were born, family growing up, or you find that Shunammite woman, anything that we want to hear from you.
So originally I'm from Portland. Most people think I'm from St. Thomas. But I'm originally from Portland, Long Bay, Portland, to be precise. And I grew up in an adjoining community called Rural Hill, in which Rural Hill and Long Bay are adjoined communities. So I'd be traversing between those communities. Attended Mansion Hill. I'm trying to say Morandale because of St. Thomas and getting see that. I
Okay.
attended Mansion Hill All Age School. Um, One of the places that my life really was impacted as a youth by a principal called Mrs. Olive Phillips and a
Mm.
teacher, a specific teacher named Miss Gloria Panton. Those people impacted me early, very early in my life. Uh, my parents grew up with mother and father. I grew up in a nuclear family, and I came and met my parents as Christians.
Mm.
Uh, my father, my father was a person, or still is a person of the word. My father was somebody who just loved the Bible. So we always see him reading, always see him reading every day that he's reading. And for example, when he's finished with the Bible, he buys the Gleaner, he buys the Star, he read them from front to back and he read them from back to front, you know. Um, so those things had early influence on me. Um, Also, then I moved to Titchfield High School in Portland.
Mm.
Um, I was impacted at Titchfield by my principal, the second principal at the time, Mr. Thaxter, who, somebody who, I was a troublemaker at school,
Oh.
but is somebody who saw that it wasn't that I was a troublemaker. He saw that there was something that I possessed that I didn't understand, something that needed some nurturing and some mentorship, and that with that he directed me. Completed high school and never knew what I was going to do because, as I say, I was a troublemaker. I never used to go class. I was about the girls and thing but I knew I had the ability, so I the subjects that I got to do. I think I did 5 subjects, passed 3 of them, and somehow my mother knew how to apply for me to go to teachers college with
Mm.
3 subjects, you know. And so when I was finished with high school, never knew what I was doing. And mommy came to me and said, "Well, I know what you're doing already, I already done the application and all of these things, and I buy the clothes and everything, and so you're just going to be head into case." And so I ended up in teacher training. I became a teacher in the year 2000, um, and found myself in a classroom. Um, to be frank, originally I never liked it.
Ah.
I realized that, whoa, I started seeing so many rondels when I was in 6th grade.
Mm.
I started seeing so many rondels, and because of the roads I went down, I decided, hey, because very early I started seeing who people are and stuff. And so,
Tell me something, Randell.
yes, sir.
When you were at Titchfield and you were given lots of trouble, uh, just in looking back, what was happening there? Seeing that you belong to a nuclear family, mother and father, and people would say, "Boy, you're in good standing. Environment is healthy." What do you think was happening at that age? Yeah.
Never really had anything to do with my mother and father. Just had to do with, so for example, my mother and my father would not, if my mother and my father wouldn't know some of the things that I did, but it was peer, and I wouldn't even say peer pressure. It was decisions to operate with your peers, you know, and also wanting to find out things too that you never know, you
Mm.
know. So, for example, I grew up in a community where people gambled a lot, but we couldn't gamble because mommy and daddy were strict. So we
Right.
practice gambling and we understand, but we never really understand the gambling. So we never gambled. So I would be at school and my friends pop out a deck of cards and say, all right, we're going to play some Dusa Sinker. And I know the name Dusa Sinker. And I've seen how it is played. So I participate. Mommy and daddy never have anything to do with it. It's just that something that you see and you want to and you want to try, you know? And so a matter of fact, the things I call trouble back then, them things are no trouble compared to trouble nowadays. I mean, what we call trouble was that you will be under the arch and you're waiting on the girls. You're interested in the girls. And that we call trouble. You miss class because you want to go talk to a girl. You know? So that was the kind of thing, the way I grew up. And then I think at about age 16, somewhere there, my father started working out of the community, started working in different parishes. And so the going to church kind of thing kind of stopped. But it stopped for me. I think it was some wisdom. I don't even know. My parents never forced us. They never said, boy, you have to go to church.
Ronald, let's pause there. We have our first break. We are talking to man of purpose, Rondell Positive. His real name, Rondell Allen. You're listening to the program Mailbox. I'm Courtney Morrison. We'll be right back after these messages.
The public sector touches the life of every single Jamaican, and that's why the government is transforming the way the public sector operates by making better use of technology to improve the delivery of public services, by improving the compensation of public sector workers to attract and retain the skills needed to run a modern and efficient public service, through training of workers to drive performance, innovation, and decision-making, by reducing waste and eliminating corruption, and other measures to make sure the country gets the best value from every dollar spent. The government of Jamaica is building a better public sector for all. Visit publicsectortransformation.gov.jm to learn more.
I'm wondering what's going on with Tom, because no matter what I do or how I fix up myself, he never seems to be interested. Don't even notice me. It's as if he has lost interest. Hey, you there? Come a little closer to the radio. I have a secret to share with you. Are you having problems in your marriage? Do you feel like you're all alone and no matter what you've done, he doesn't seem to notice? Well, join Dr. Colleen Beckles for the truly marvelous program To Have and to Hold this Thursday, January 11 at 5:30 p.m. with co-host Pastor Napoleon Black. You'll learn and be advised on how to refresh your marriage. That's To Have and to Hold this Thursday at 5:30 right here on the family station, Love 101.
I am a man. Yes, welcome back to the Mailbox, aired every Wednesday, 5:30 p.m. on Love 101 FM, your family station. So we are very honored, privileged to have Rondell Positive in the place. And we are very excited that you could join us. So great to have you, men. This is the year that we really want to underline purpose. So we have the right person to start off this show. Rondell, you went to Titchfield. Was there a time you were in St. Thomas? Why they associate you with St. Thomas?
So I met my wife in college. I met my wife in college. We were good friends, very good friends, from college. And then after college, I actually got a job in St. Thomas. And so I then married my wife. And so I am from I always say I am from Portland and St. Thomas, you know, because my family is St. Thomas, because my wife and my children were in St. Thomas. So for most of my adult life, I was in St. Thomas, you know. So that's why I always came both parishes.
Thanks very much, Randall. At what point did your life become so impacted by the gospel that there was a change, or was there a change? Tell us at what point that occurred and how it happened. You start realizing.
So it's not even the gospel that really affected me much. So it's that I had an encounter. I had an encounter with God. I was engaged to be married to my wife, and I wasn't Christian at the time. I was still a playboy. I was still one of them youth who play the girls. I knew that I found my wife though, because I was always looking for my wife. I knew that I found my wife and I was ready to settle. But at the same time, I was still not ready to settle. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. I remember, to be frank, what really changed my life was my father saying to me, youth, either you're going to have your cake or you're going to eat your cake. That changed my life. That simple thing my father said to me. You cannot have your cake and eat at the same time. And so the situation was that I was engaged to be married, but then at the same time I had an ex-girl who was in America, and my fiance at the time was going to America, and this girl was coming to Jamaica for the summer. So I was like, all right, I'm going to play my last game and whatever. And the long and short of the story is that my last game played me. I never played it, it played me. And so her family found out and everything, and some whole life just messed up in front of me. And I went home to talk to my mother. And when I went home to talk to my mother, the morning, I went home like about, I think I got home like about 5 o'clock the morning. And my father said, your mother is at church. She's at a convention. So if you really want to talk to her, it means you need to go to the church, go talk to her. I went to the church. When I went to the church to talk to my mother, I went in and I sat beside her. And I said, I need to talk to your mommy. And I said, I need to talk to your mommy. And she said, no, she said, I don't know what it is, but you can't talk to me. You need to talk to God. See?
Wow.
It was an encounter, a real encounter. Because the moment mommy said that to me, one of the elders, who is somebody who knew me from I was a child, this man just got up from the front of the church, came and sit beside me, and said, Randall, what is it that you want to say? And I,
Wow.
you know, so, and then I never even know how to respond. So he said, you want to say something? And I just say, yeah. And I remember going to the front, they gave me a microphone, just like that. And I remember trying to speak, and all that could come out of my mouth was help. And that help wasn't even me saying help. It was a groan. You know? And long and short of it, they prayed. They prayed for me. And when they were finished praying, the pastor said to me, he said, Randall, you don't have to tell us what the problem is. He said, if you believe that God can fix the problem that you have, by the time you get home, your problem will be sorted out. Cool? I jump in a taxi. I am like 3 hours away from home. When I got home, my fiance treated me like she was the one who cheated on me.
Wow. Wow.
See, I remember saying to God when I was in the taxi, I said, if you are God, fix this thing, let me see, and then I will live the rest of my life for you. I got home, I said this thing fixed. See? No, I don't ever tell you guys this. At the time I was a sound system selector, by the way. So them time I know me just a go bus a passa. Me just a go bus a passa them time. And the boss for the sound that I'm working with just giving every man 100 grand, say go buy a little car so you can drive God to dance.
Wow.
See? And I remember that when I got home, I said, whoa, something. I said, this God real. See? And then suddenly God started bringing me back to things that I saw when I was a child. My brother encountered a miracle where he prayed and asked God to, he had a kidney problem, and asked God to remove water from him. And he prayed that, let's say he prayed that Tuesday night, Wednesday morning, water gone. When I was a little youth, again, my father had an ulcer experience where ulcer erupted, and they said he was dead because they couldn't find pulse for like about 15 minutes. And then they found the pulse and he came back to life. And they say he had to do go to Kingston Public Hospital to do an operation. And when he went to Kingston Public, and the doctors checked, they said, this man, what ulcer? Inside this man is as clean as a baby. So those things start coming back to me. And I say, whoa, God. So from then, from the get-go, my life has been a very serious life for God, meaning Elijah kind of serious, them kind of serious. Trust God. No, let's not have a conversation if you're not going, as a Christian man, if you're not serious about this. If you don't believe, say, rain or fall and you're going to tell it to stop. And that's at my Genesis the other night. They tell you, no, rain or fall and we tell it stop. Rain, you need to stop now. And rain, stop. Why? Because we realize these encounters. And it's an encounter really changed my life.
Wow.
Awesome. So, purpose. You're a man of purpose. That testimony alone says God had something designed for you, and you were about to be launched into seeing what that really is. Tell us your statement of purpose, man of purpose, knowing that God created us on purpose for a purpose. Talk to us a bit about that.
So I've come to discover that we don't have a purpose. I've come to discover that we don't have a purpose. The purpose don't belong to us. The purpose belongs to the manufacturer. Every product that is made, the purpose of the product really came out of the manufacturer's mind. The manufacturer came up with the idea concerning this product. So when God was going to make us, God determined, a matter of fact, purpose precedes production. So if we read the purpose statement of the human, when God intended to make man, there was a discussion in heaven. Can you imagine, you read in Genesis 1 and you realize that everything that God was making, there's this thing about him. He determines what he wants to make. He determines what it needs to be made out of. And then he speaks to what he wants the thing made out of. So he wants plants, and he determines that plants are to be made out of soil. And then he says to the soil, bring forth plants. And the soil brings forth plants. He says to the water, I want to make something called fish. Fish come out of water. So water produce fish. And then when you check it, you realize that if the plant comes out of the soil, you notice that it dies. Because it is out of source. And if the fish comes out of water, you see it fluttering, trying to get back into the water, because it is out of source. So then when God wanted to make us, God said, let us have a conversation about this specific species of things that we're going to make. He says, let us make this thing in our own image and likeness. Again, whenever God wants to make something, he decides what he's going to make. He decides what is the material it is to be made out of, and then he speaks to the material. So God spoke to himself when he was about to make us. Not only that, if God was going to make, I said this yesterday, if God made us like angels, it would have been beautiful. If he chose to make us like Michael and Gabriel, it would have been beautiful. If he chose to make us like him, the Father, it would have been beautiful. If he chose to make us like the Son, or make us like, but then he said, no, I want them to have the same kind of triunity that I have as Father, Spirit, and Son. And then him say, why am I making them? Because I have created a realm, and I call earth, and I want them to have dominion over this realm. And he says, I want them to have dominion over everything that lives on this realm except themselves. So the purpose is really owned by God. We have the God of this world has deceived that men think that purpose belonged to them. When I discovered that purpose was not mine, and I discovered that God owned my purpose, when I started reading some things like Proverbs 19:21, many are the plans of a man's heart, but it is God's purpose that will prevail. For I know the plans I have for you, and these plans are to prosper you and to bring you to an expected end. That means the end is already there. The reason why I'm here is already there. Another one, Isaiah 46 verse 9, 10, and 11. Him say, I am God and there's none like me. He says, I determine the end of a thing before the beginning. And then he says, do not take it as a joke. He says, I say, my purpose shall stand. He didn't say your purpose, Randall. When you check it out, you realize that God owns this purpose. And the challenge that humanity has is that humanity will not accept that this thing is not ours. And we were just made to fulfill his purpose.
So tell us, Randall.
Let's take a break right there. It's 3 minutes past 6 in the evening.
Courtney, I think they wanted us to go 6:15, you know.
Okay, no problem then.
So, Randall, hearing you men listening, and specifically those in the church, I need your perspective on this, because after all, we men in the church should really be hearing from God, recognizing that is his purpose, and therefore fulfill that. Are you satisfied that as men we are hearing that, understanding that, and operating in his purpose? And if not, why? What are the obstacles? Your perspective.
I don't think we are. I think there are people who are, but not the majority. You know, I think we are. There are several things. One of the things is that we preach the gospel of Jesus Christ, but not the gospel that Jesus preached. We preach Jesus, but we don't preach what Jesus preached. Because the truth is, what Jesus preached is that he came to restore us, not to go to heaven, but rather to bring heaven to earth. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. Your kingdom come. Where? On earth. How? Just like it is in heaven. So one of the things about us is that the majority of the church is looking forward to going to heaven and not looking forward to bringing heaven to earth. And bringing heaven to earth fulfills the purpose that we were created for, because he says, have rulership, reign, kingdom over the earth. That's what the word dominion means. So the truth is, majority, that is one, majority is thinking of going to heaven. And thinking of, okay, I get saved now, so I am saved and I am all right because I am saved. No, the reality is that the world, the nations need men to come to the place of understanding, or the question of, God, why am I here? Why am I here? What did you put in me that you want manifested in the earth that nobody else cannot manifest? Because God does nothing at all for just pleasure. everything that God does, he does it on purpose. Everything. So if God, who Job says, when God held Job in the conversation and said to Job, whose counsel have you to question me? Job, when Job recovered, Job said, this is what I figured out. He says, I figured out that you have, in Job 42 verse 2, he says, I figured out that you know and can do all things, and no purpose of yours can be thwarted. So he's saying, I have come to the understanding that as much as I think that I had a right to even question anything, he said, listen, everything is in you. You determined it and decided it long before. And so it's a place now for us as men to really come to the point of submitting to God, resisting the devil, that God will draw near to us and show us exactly why he have us here.
You know, Rhonda, we hear scriptures such as Jeremiah 29:11, Jeremiah 1, verse 5, that even says that before you were in your mother's womb, he's speaking to Jeremiah, that I ordained you to be a prophet. So purpose is established before we actually get flesh and is sent into the earth on assignment. How easy is it? How does a man know purpose? How does he? One of the things we always tell person, you need to find purpose. But is it not true to say that purpose has been placed in you is for you to reconnect with what has been given you? We seem to have lost Rondell for a bit. But you know, Kevin, I'm looking at some of those scriptures, and even as he quoted from Proverbs 19, that many are the plans of a man, but it's really the plans of God that are established. Job's question, can the purposes of God be thwarted? The answer clearly is no. So the late Dr. Miles Monroe stated that, just as Rhonda stated, that the purpose of a thing, the word that Dr. Monroe actually used, is the use of a thing is determined by the creator of the thing. The original intent of the creator is what the thing must be used for. If it is used for something else, and he actually gave quite a gross analogy. If a cup was created to be spat in by the creator and we use it to drink out of, then we are misusing the cup. How do us human beings avoid misuse or mispurpose or abuse or purpose to ensure that we walk in correct use and purpose? Rhonda, I hope you were hearing.
I missed out on all that. I got cut off, and I got cut off, but I just came back where you were saying you were saying about misuse of the cup. I never catch anything before that.
Dr. Monroe was stating something similar to what you stated today, Dr. Miles Monroe, where he said over 30 years ago, I still remember his teaching, the original intent of the creator of the thing is its purpose. He actually said the use of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if a cup was created to be spat in, he actually used a gross example, and you drink tea or water out of it, then the cup is being misused because that was not the original intent of the creator of the thing. As you said, the manufacturer of the thing in terms of intent. I was pulling some of the scriptures together, and one in particular, Jeremiah 1:5, that you never stated, was he said to Jeremiah, long before he got to chapter 29, before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you and I ordained you. So purpose is given before you become flesh and then sent into the earth on assignment. How, as human beings, do we avoid mispurpose or misuse or purpose, abuse, and walk in that which is purpose?
So the truth is that as Dr. Monroe discovered, one of the things that he discovered, and I've discovered also, is that not all purpose is known. But our challenge that we have is we keep asking products, what is purpose? But product never made product. The key to purpose is finding truth. And truth truth will only be found in manufacturer, because it was out of the manufacturer's mind that the product came. It is the manufacturer who had the idea about the product. Let's talk about Jamaica for a minute, and let me show you how Jamaica is being abnormally used, being abused. When I was a little youth growing up and I went to school, every morning I used to say something called the national pledge and the national anthem. We used to sing the anthem, say the pledge. My father was a part of the old system before 1962. So my father explained to me that what they used to sing was the British national anthem and say, God save the Queen. Jamaica now, in being formulated in 1962, Jamaica being formulated in 1962 was now a new country, which means somebody would have come up with the original plan now for this country. Some men came together and God started showing them. Before God and all mankind, I pledge the love and loyalty of my heart, the wisdom and courage of my mind, the strength and vigor of my body in the service of my fellow citizens. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood and peace, work diligently and creatively, think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may. Are you hearing the why? Just like have dominion, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity and pure part and advancing the welfare of the whole human race. That is the purpose statement of Jamaica, you know. But the majority of Jamaicans don't even look at that.
Think you're muted, Rondell. Rondell, think you're muted. Come again. You're still muted, Rondell. Not sure what's happening there, Courtney.
Yes, we seem to be having a little technical issue there. We seem to have lost Rondell for a little while. But there is a group that call themselves the Pledge Keepers that speak to the National Pledge and says that indeed, as Rondell has said, it is our purpose statement for this nation. And truly, we have not been walking out. We as Jamaicans have been privileged with a national anthem and a national pledge that's unlike any other, that speaks to us walking in obedience to God and walking in a new level of success. As long as we do it, that we will not only be existing by ourselves, but we'll be playing our part in advancing the welfare of the entire human race. And that's why some people said Jamaica. And he did, didn't he?
No, indeed, Courtney. Well, we're gonna take a break just right now. We have been having conversation with Rondell Positive. This is Kevin and Courtney in the mailbox. We take a break. We'll be right back after this.
I am a man, yes.
Harold, do you have a minute? I need your help with something.
What that no?
I'm filling out this form from the company's office and there's a section about beneficial ownership, but I don't even know what that means.
Well, a beneficial owner is anybody that owns or controls a company. That could be anyone, a shareholder, director, or manager of the company. The company's office also needs to know the identity of all these people, including their occupation, nationality, date of birth, current address, and a copy of their ID.
Okay, I think I understand now.
One more thing. Remember, company's office needs this information when you're starting a company, filing annual returns, or making changes to the beneficial owners. They're also going to need you to maintain a record of these persons. For more information, visit orcjamaica.com and bohubjamaica.com.
When you say phosphorus, you say electrical. SWA cables, conduits, transformers, and breakers. When you say phosphorus, you say lighting, chandeliers, and more. When you say phosphorus, you say LEDs and solar water heaters. Phosphorus is electrical, lighting, solar, and LEDs. Visit us today, Kingston, Mandeville, and Montego Bay. Phosphorus.
I
Good.
Welcome back. You're listening to the program The Mailbox. I'm Courtney Morris, with me co-host Kevin Bailey and our guest, special guest, the first one for the year, Mr. Rondell Positive, man of purpose himself. And we're talking about purpose. What is purpose, and how should men walk in purpose? We lost you at the end there, Rondell,
Yeah,
and so
I was saying.
we're not sure what happened. Kevin, I don't know if you care to repeat the question so that we can get a response.
Yes, Randall. So I was just wondering why is it that we're getting it so wrong, in order to correct it. And specifically as we kind of zero in on men, what is happening in the space, for us to get it right, Randall? Can we want to get it? Can we get it right this year? What do we need to do to shift the paradigm?
All right, let's talk about the Jamaican man for a minute. I had this conversation at the fireworks show. I said it on here, and I said I know the solution to Jamaica. I know the solution to Jamaica. We talked a while ago. When purpose is not known, abuse is automatic. Let me say that again. When purpose is not known, and when purpose is not followed through on, abuse is automatic. I want to say that again because I want it to really sink into somebody who is listening and somebody who might be able to tell somebody else. When the purpose of a thing is not known, abnormal use is automatic. Meaning you are experimenting and you are abusing the thing because you don't know what the thing is supposed to be done to do. The purpose of a Jamaican is this: to under God, first step, to under God, increase in beauty, fellowship. That's the problem that Jamaica have right now. Fellowship. Man, nobody know what like nobody. We can't. The fellowship problem that we have. So the Jamaica under God. These are the steps. Under God, increase in beauty, fellowship and prosperity. Then Jamaica plays her part in advancing the welfare, not of Jamaica. I come back to say to you that only Jamaica in the world, go on, if you check it out, research it, only Jamaica and Jamaicans in the world make this commitment to the entire world, other than Abraham and Jesus Christ. That is how powerful this thing is. Other than Jesus Christ and Abraham, it is only a single Jamaican, not us together. So it means that there are 3 million people in our country, plus the others all over the world. If we get into practicing this thing that has been designed as to how we ought to function. You remember that Acts 17:26 says that he determines where you were born and he determines what you were born to do.
Mm-hmm.
And this thing is written about you and I, the Jamaican man. So when purpose is not known, abuse is automatic. So a youth a kill a youth and him don't know why him a kill a youth. Him don't know why. Because he's outside of how he's supposed to function. So I was saying that I had this conversation with the Prime Minister over the microphone at the fireworks. And I was saying, Prime Minister, Jamaica under God, step 1. It is written about us. Step 1, under God. Step 2, we increase in fellowship. And then we go to prosperity. I love my nation and I love my leaders. But I've been saying this for more than 5 years now. Jamaica will never get to prosperity. And it's not that I'm putting a curse. No, Jamaica will never get to prosperity until we walk the steps to prosperity. Jamaica under God, increase in beauty, and then we get to prosperity.
Who's responsible?
Nothing
Randall.
about it.
Randall.
Aligning.
Randall, who is responsible to lead this? Is it politicians? Is it ministers of the gospel? Is it every man? And I'm just asking now because yet just how to move forward. Who is responsible from your understanding to lead this charge then, Randall?
It has to be those called by God, but it has to be led not from a religious place. It has to be led. Remember, God is all about nations. Every time you listen to him, he never promised Abraham a religion. He promised Abraham the nations. He promised Abraham the nations. God is interested in nations. When God think about Randall and God think about Courtney, when God think about us, he's thinking about nations. What is nation? Each time you look at nations, you realize that the nation is the next generation is the next nation. So God is always talking about nation. So the men who are called by God need to be men who lead this and not be men who are politically driven. Politicians in the Bible, politicians went to the prophet. The prophet never went to the politician unless God sent him. The politician normally go to the prophet to ask the prophet how this thing must work. What must we do? And when a politician was out of line, the prophet God would give the prophet a word, and the prophet would speak the politician into line. So here's the reality that we have. The reality that we have is that we are a special nation. If some things that have been revealed to me, if I say them, people think me mad. Like Jamaica is modern day Israel. Jamaica, why? We make the commitment to the world and to God that God made to Abraham. God said to Abraham, I will make you a father of many nations. Each individual Jamaican said to God, before you and every human being that live, I, Randall, pledge that I will advance the welfare of the entire human race. Me alone. It's that powerful, my brother. It's that powerful. And my prayer is that my nation will get who we are and stop saying we little about we tell our and yo, look how we do that over there. So you still not see who you are yet, man. How is it that you enter a sport that is a snow sport and we don't have no snow, but we are win gold? How? It is because God somehow got this a certain kind of people on this little plot of land called Jamaica. And I don't know if you don't see it, but the entire world looks to us. The entire world looks to us.
And no, it takes something for us to get this revelation. Is it something that we will have to be taught, in the churches, in our homes, and in order for us to get it? Because certainly the abuse we see and the results we're seeing, so is there also that place, with parenting, for instance, and what are your views on that aspect of it?
We have to restore. I started out by saying when I was a youth, I grew up in the 80s and the 90s. And I said this at the event that I was the other day, and I'm going to say it again. There was a time when we said, when we used to say, Jamaica, no problem. You remember that?
Yep.
We never used to have the problem that we have right now. But if you look, over time, we gradually moved away. We gradually moved away from the things that made us as powerful as we were as this little place. Back to the national anthem, back to the national pledge. When I was growing up in school, we knew these things. These things were, we were saying these things and we were believing these things. So right now, my team, we actually plan to actually come reactivate doing these things back in the school, because People don't believe that these are the answers, but the answers are very simple. The answers are very simple. The things that you repeat, you become. As a man thinks in his heart,
So is it?
the things you repeat and believe, you become. So that's why they shatter them and shatter them and shatter. Why? Because they shatter them only listen to the thing them I say. Kill 7, 35 bullet down a boy neck. So if you listen that every day, somebody come and say something and you don't like it, the first thing comes out of you is kill 7, 35 shot down a boy throat, whatever. So the reality is, if we want to restore the nation, we have to restore the things that are the pillars that makes the nation stand. Listen to us. Listen to us. Let me say this. The last thing I'll say before you move on. Listen to us. We say, Eternal Father, bless our land. And then we go down. And we say, knowledge, send us from where?
Heaven.
We say, knowledge, send us from above.
Yeah.
We say, we live on earth. There's no other nation on earth who speak this language. I'm just telling you, none. We say we live on earth, but we don't want earthly knowledge to guide our nation. Jesus said, if you know the truth, it set you free. So knowledge set you free. The next thing that set you free is wisdom and vision rather. He said, give us vision, lest we perish. Isn't it true that one of the greatest kings who live, the wisest kings who live, he says, without vision, the people perish. And then we write, give us vision, so that we do not perish.
Awesome. We're speaking with Rondell Positive. We come to the end of this program. It's Man of Purpose, and we're talking about purpose. He has made it clear to us. We already have a vision statement known as the National Pledge, and we do have a national anthem that speaks to a nation unlike any other. It has been an evening.
Courtney, let me just throw this in as you said, the national anthem. I want to make people know something. You see the word anthem? It means the standard by which something operates. Let that soak.
We have our guidelines since 1962. It's time to reactivate that which have been spoken over this nation as a statement of purpose. Kev?
Yes, well, oh my gosh, time is up on us. We want to thank you, Rondell Positive. Look like we might have to have some more time, but thank you so very much for coming and sharing the way you did. Thanks to Dr. Nadine Blair, Operations Programs Manager, Jermaine Johnson, our producer, Timoy Butler, Technical Support, Raquel Robertson, Digital Media. Thanks to our guest again, Rondell Allen, aka Rondell Positive. And we end the show with this quote: the best way to lengthen out our days is to walk steadily and with a purpose. Charles Dickens.
This was the program designed for men with guests who are men. That's it for our first show of the season. Happy New Year to you and your family. Catch you next week. Wednesday. Next week, Wednesday, January the 17th, 2024, with our special guest, Owen Blacker Ellis. Same place, same time, inside the mailbox. Monday. Blessings.
Bless up. Bless up. Thanks.
I am a man.